tries to push him outside. He glides, he keeps his frontal position, keeps his outside in position. Once he gets to him, now we're going to work our collision. We want to make sure we collision him inside as far as we possibly can without taking him too far. Now, once we get a collision on the receiver here, now our eyes go back inside to find our number 2 receiver. Once we control him, now if there's no threat of 2, now we're going to be ready to what we call pivot and pop, which we'll go to on some of the other video that's coming up. Good view of it here. Again, the only thing I would have like his hands up a little more, ready for the collision. Good stance, good start. Base is probably a little bit wide, but it's a nice job with the glide. Nice job of staying square and keeping a nice frontal position to fall back in and get a collision on the receiver. Same thing, taxi down. Again, good stance, good start. Eyes are in the right place. Receiver proceeds to release outside. Nice job of staying square on his glide. And then once he gets the collision, we get the collision here. Now with the inside release, we'll refer to it as a pivot and pop. Now we get an outside release on this one. Now we call this, we want to flatten and sink. And the reason we give them 2 different names is because the inside release, we may not get as much hands on them, so we were ready to pivot and pop and get back into the window. Here with an outside release, we definitely want to flatten the receiver. We want to flatten him and get him as wide as we possibly can and control him. Once we get to this point, we've flattened him, we've controlled him. Now we can get our eyes back inside, find the number 2 receiver, and once we get control, now we can flatten and sink in the window, which he does a great job of here. Nice job with his feet on the glide and not crossing over. And again, when we glide, we want to make sure we lead with that near foot, which he does here. Great job with the collision. Probably could get a little more extension on him with the hands, but he widens as far as he possibly can, and then he'll pivot and sink into the window. End zone view of it. You can see he does a nice job with his feet. You definitely can't be lazy with your feet as he proceeds to release outside the receiver. We got to make sure we do a nice job of gliding and staying in position till we get nice frontal position and making that wide out go around. And he does a nice job of widening him, and now he sinks. Good stance, good start. Does a nice job of being patient on the release. Now we get an inside release, so here will be a nice pivot and pop. He'll control the receiver. Once he gets control of him, nice job with his hands. Probably would like his hands to be a little more inside with those thumbs up. Presses him inside. Once he controls him for about 2 to 3 steps, now he'll be ready to pivot and pop. And again, once you pivot and pop, we give him a landmark of trying to get back outside the numbers into that 10 to 15 yard range where he can get in that window, which is the weakness of cover 2. Nice job there. Again, end zone view where you can get an idea of seeing his eyes. Eyes are inside. He reads pass. Eyes go back to the wide out. Does a great job, even with the receiver trying to give him a little wiggle here. He's a great job of being patient with his feet and keeping that frontal position where he can get nice hands on him. Probably like to stay square just a little bit longer, but he does a nice job of getting his hands on him. Doesn't cross over. The only thing right here, once he gets into the release here after the collision, probably like to see him lead with that left foot a little more to where he doesn't get in a crossover position, but he does a nice job with his hands. Okay, here in a full skelly, we'll start down here at the bottom, 23. He gets a hard inside release. Again, pre-snap, what we'll tell the guys is we tell them that there's like a fence, 3 yards inside of them, 3 yards outside of them. And if the guys release outside of those landmarks, then we'll be ready to either flatten, sink, or we'll be ready to pivot and pop. He gets a hard inside release. He takes his 2 or 3 shuffles to get to him. He can't get to him. So now the receiver's basically done his job for him by going in there really hard. And now since he's gone, the receiver's already done his job for him, now his eyes will find number 2. Number 2's vertical, so now I'm going to be ready to pivot and pop and get back into the window. Ideally, the ball thrown the other way. We like the DB at the bottom of the screen, number 23. We like him to actually pivot and pop a little bit deeper. I think he sees the ball thrown here, but he still wants to shoot for his landmark outside the numbers. Defensive back up top, number 8. Again, he taxis down. Eyes are inside, ball snap, it's passed, eyes go back to 1. 1 gives him a hard inside release. Again, he takes his 2 to 3 shuffles to get his hands on him. He can't get to him. Now he's going to be ready to pivot and pop and get back into the window. Again, the defensive back up top does a much better job of getting back to his landmark. He'll pivot and pop with the inside release, working back outside the numbers. And again, he'll try to get into that 15-yard window to where he can lift the throw. He doesn't necessarily want to go cover the corner route by number 2 because he's still responsible for anything that comes back in the flat late, which we get a little snag route here by the number 1 receiver, so the ball goes back into the flat. So the corner does an excellent job of keeping his vision back, and he does a good job of being in the window on the corner route. Ball's thrown underneath, he drives on it. Okay, we'll start down here at the bottom. Again, we get a hard outside release. We get a little bit of a crossover here, which we really don't want. If he has to shuffle and he can't get to him within 3 steps, really, with this release, he can go ahead and be ready to pivot and pop and still get in the window. But he crosses over a little here to kind of overemphasize getting his hands on him. Don't really want him to cross over as much as he does here, but he does get to him, but he does a nice job of recovering and pivoting and popping and getting in the window. He gets to his landmarker, which is outside the numbers, which is really good. So now he's in the window. The only thing I would say is just make sure he doesn't cover him too much, because now if something comes back in the flat late, he needs to be in that window. Up top, we get basically a bunch formation up top, so it kind of changes the rules here where we're playing that number 1 receiver more like a wheel route, which will carry that through the zone. So the corner up top actually takes the vertical. Okay, we'll start up top. Again, he taxis down to about 5 to 6 yards, and his vision now goes from the end man on the line of scrimmage to number 1. He doesn't really have a number 2 threat, so he can really be hard on 1. We get a quick slant here, and the corner does a nice job of staying square, reading the route, and squeezing and flattening this slant route back towards the line of scrimmage. Does a nice job of knocking it down here. As you can see, once he taxis up, his stance and his initial glide is really good. His eyes are good. They stay focused on 1. Ball's thrown. He squeezes, does a nice job of knocking it out.
What we're looking at here is our cover 1. All right, we're going to talk about 2 techniques. A cupcake technique for us, which is when a safety steps down and covers a tight end, and a city technique for us, which is when a safety or a nickel is covering a slot receiver. So in this particular drawing against Arkansas, this diagram, the safety to the bottom of the screen to the left is playing a city technique. All right, so his responsibility is his alignment is divide the rules by 5 off the number 2 receiver, which means if the number 2 receiver is halfway between the tackle or closer to the tackle box, then he'll line up outside. If he's closer to the number 1 receiver than the tackle, then he'll line up on his inside pad. His key is to dead key the receiver. He's looking at the outside or inside number and hip of the receiver. His responsibility is to cover the number 2 receiver. So number 22 here is covering the slot receiver to the field. On the snap of the ball, he's going to hot his feet. He's going to give ground grudgingly, and he's going to absorb, catch, collision, and carry the receiver, funnel him back to the inside where his help is, to the hole and the post, win into the outside by alignment and technique, forcing him to run a corner cut over top of him. All right, now our safety at the top is executing what we call a cupcake technique, which is essentially the same thing except for he's covering a tight end. So in this particular case, he steps down on the outside shoulder of the tight end just a step behind linebacker depth. He's keying through the tight end to backfield flow. When the tight end releases, it's his responsibility to absorb, catch, collision, and carry the tight end, funnel him back to the inside where his help is, to the hole and to the post. Both guys in this particular case do a pretty good job. In man-to-man coverage, the man will take you to the ball. We don't look back to the ball until we're close enough to touch the receiver. And that's something that's very, very important to us. All right, here we go. Against Wake Forest, our star or nickel is over the number 2 receiver to the field. He's executing what we call a city technique. The receiver works hard to the inside. It's his responsibility to dive, putting his face on the ball, and if he gets a mesh route, getting the jet wash in the mesh route. The safety at the top's covering the tight end in man-to-man coverage. He's playing what we call a cupcake technique. The tight end worked up vertically 5 to 6 yards. Don't back up on a tight end. Don't back up on a slot. Absorb, catch, collision, and carry. Funnel him back to the inside where your help is. Again, to the hole and to the post. You've got rat help underneath, and you've got post help with the safety. One's coming down. He'll step down on the outside shoulder of the tight end. Tight end releases. I'd like to see him absorb him, catch, collision, and carry. We tell our guys, respect the wideout, don't respect the tight end. Be physical with the tight end. All right, here's a 10 personnel set. Our stars covering number 2 strong, and our free safety steps down to cover number 1 weak. Good example this time of the star, number 2 receiver to the field, going to the flat. We tell our star to dive. Dive to the upfield shoulder. Dive to the outside shoulder. Don't look back till you're close enough to touch the receiver. Don't leave yourself, if you're close enough to touch him, you can look back to the ball. If you come underneath and intercept it, that's great. If not, hook with the outside arm, shoot the inside arm. Don't leave yourself vulnerable to yards after the catch or the flatten up, or what we call the wheel route. The safety to the bottom, the screen steps down. His receiver also goes to the flat. He dives on him. I don't like that he crosses his feet. He should point his knee in the direction he wants to go, dive on it, not look back till he's close enough to touch him. And if he's close enough to touch him, can come underneath and get 2 hands on it, go get it, pick off the ball. If not, hook with your outside arm, shoot the inside arm, and don't leave yourself vulnerable to yards after the catch or the wheel cut. Good job by both guys. You can see the safety walking down into the box. His eyes should be on the outside number and hip of number 81 right there. You should dive. Dive. Point your knee where you want to go. Get yourself in position that you're at the upfield shoulder. Well played. All right, cover 1 again. This is a pretty good example right here of our cover 1. And as you watch it, it's going to be motion. And the star to the field is going to cover the number 2 receiver. And the free safety steps down to cover cupcake tight end right here. All right, so the star to the field hots his feet. As the receiver works vertically, absorbs them, catches, collisions, and carries, funnels him back to the inside where his help is, to the hole and to the post. Do not like that he looks back, but he's okay. You see the safety at the bottom as he steps down over the tight end, does an outstanding job here, diving on the mesh route. Points his knee where he wants to go, closes ground, does a great job diving on the mesh route by the tight end right there on the high-low combination. Really good job right there. 31, you'll see him walk into the box here in a second. It's his responsibility to cover 2 weak, who happens to be a tight end. Because he's a tight end, we call that the cupcake technique. He hots his feet. He widens his base, anticipating the tight end trying to push off. Does a great job on the mesh route right there, putting his face on the ball. Here we are against Kentucky. Tight cover 1 versus 2x2. Our star to the field is covering the slot. The slot's got a big split. He may even move inside a little bit here. He'll dead key the inside number and hip of the receiver. The receiver goes to the flat. He dives on it. He doesn't look back till he's close enough to touch him. Does a good job. The safety at the top's got the tight end. The tight end releases to the flat. Again, he crosses his feet. He's got to tighten up his footwork a little bit right there. But he dives on the cupcake to the top. Once the shoulders once he's working to the flat route right there, he's going to dive on it. He doesn't look back till he's close enough to touch him. Don't leave yourself vulnerable again to the wheel or any yards after the catch. Good job. All right, here we are against Wake Forest. Again, the star's covering the number 2 receiver to the field. He's a little tighter by alignment. Don't love his technique. He gets into a trail position. He does a poor job here of focusing on the outside, of keying the outside number and hip of the receiver and funneling him back to the inside where his help is. You've got to win to the outside by alignment and technique. Now you watch the safety at the top. He does a good job on a city technique on the slot. Watch him match the steps. He gets the pivot right here, and his eyes are on that outside number and hip. Hips drop, stride shortens, does a great job. Ball's caught for 2 yards, makes a great open field tackle. Very good play right there. Very good close on the football. 31, you'll see him walk into the box. He focuses on the hips of the receiver. The receiver's going to show up on your screen on the pivot. Does a good job driving the cut. Plant, open, and drive. Point your knee where you want to go. Finish the play. Get your head across. All right, good job here. We got this free safety and the star are playing city technique on the slots. Both do a real good job on the flat routes right here. They hot their feet on the snap of the ball. They take away the outside by alignment and technique. They do a good job here driving to the upfield shoulder, not leaving themselves, again, vulnerable to yards after the catch or the wheel. The free safety at the top does a very good job on the flat cut right there by the Arkansas receiver. Good dive. Nowhere for him to throw the ball. Tight coverage. Very good. Very good. Here's a good look at cover one. So again, our star's playing number 2 receiver to the field, and our free safety's playing the number 2 receiver to the boundary. They're both receivers. Now there's a tight end, so they're both playing city techniques. Now there's playing a cupcake technique. The star to the field, he hots his feet. The receiver works vertically. He doesn't back up. He gives ground very grudgingly. He absorbs him there, catches him, collisions and carries, wins to the outside by alignment and technique. The safety at the top does the same thing. Hots his feet. The receiver's working a flat route. He dives on it. Points his left knee where he wants to go, drives the cut. Minimal gain by the Arkansas receiver. Get an opportunity for us to play tighter coverage. Good job by number 31 diving on the flat cut by number 4. Okay, we're continuing to talk about cover one here, and we're going to talk about the free safety in the middle of the field. We call him our numbers the numbers player. So as you're looking at this drawing right here, we were playing man free, and the safety in the middle of the field is our numbers the numbers player. Some people would term him a middle safety or a post safety or a middle third. I don't like the term middle third because that limits him. We don't have anybody in man-to-man in the outside thirds, so we tell that safety it's his responsibility to play from the inside edge of the numbers on one side of the field to the inside edge of the numbers on the other side of the field. Post player also limits him to just theoretically deep post routes. We want that individual to be 12 yards deep in the middle of the formation. We'll often show a cover 2 shell to get ourselves, to disguise our intentions. As the quarterback begins his cadence, we'll work to 12 yards deep in the middle of the formation, and we key the quarterback. If the ball's off the line of scrimmage, we'll treat that as pass. Now, as we're eyeballing the quarterback, as we read pass, we're looking at the quarterback's front shoulder to identify the direction the quarterback's throwing. In this case, the defense is right, and the level that he's throwing. Is he throwing deep, or is he throwing intermediate? And in this case, obviously, he's throwing to the right, and he's throwing deep. So the safety on the left spins back to the middle. Because of the quarterback's quick drop, he never comes back into a back pedal. We call that a fishtail drill. He stays in stride, and he takes a good angle, and he's in position to be a numbers the numbers player on the deep route by number 4 for Arkansas right there. I often watch a lot of end zone film with the guys, so as Wilson's dropping back to pass here, our numbers the numbers safety's got a good feel that the quarterback's looking to the right as you look at this, and they're that shoulder level indicating that he's throwing high shoulder level, indicating that he's throwing some type of deep ball to that side of the field. Good range by the safety there, defending, as you can see, the inside edge of the numbers on one side of the field to the inside edge of the numbers on the other side of the field. All right, good disguise here again. The safety to the right is working back to become the numbers player. He's in the middle of the formation. Ball's off the line of scrimmage, telling him pass. Now his vision's on the quarterback. He's looking at the quarterback's front shoulder. The quarterback's front shoulder hasn't given him anything yet. At the end, he can see that he's clearly throwing short, and he's throwing to our right. So the middle safety, the numbers player's got to pursue the football from inside out. He's responsible for all deep routes within the framework of the numbers. If it would have been ball on the line of scrimmage, some type of perimeter run play, it's the numbers player or the cover 1 free safety player. It's his responsibility to pursue that run inside out to the ball. He's quarterback to pitch on the option, and he pursues through the alley. Again, a good look right here. The quarterback really doesn't give away his intentions real quick, but at the end you can see that he's throwing to our right, and he's throwing short, and we've got a pursuit of the football. We've got pretty good coverage right there. All right, this is a good example here. Our safety to the right is going to work back and become our numbers, the numbers player. He gets a 2x2, so he's probably thinking some type of 4 verts. Great job here. As he's looking at the quarterback, he sees the quarterback's clearly looking to his left, to our right, and he's throwing deep as he throws that corner route. So as he starts to open, he preps on that left foot, points his right knee where he wants to go. He's defended all deep routes within the framework of the numbers from the one side of the field to the other side of the field. That's our numbers, the numbers technique. We call this numbers, the numbers. Our deep post player has to play all routes within the framework of the numbers to either side of the field. All right, here's another look at the numbers, the numbers technique. All right, number 21 is going to spin back to the middle. He's in the middle of the formation right there. He's in pretty good position. Good look. He's got the quarterback. He's looking at the quarterback. Quarterback's clearly throwing to our right, and he's throwing deep. He's in pretty good position right there. He can play all deep routes within the framework of the numbers. The corner on the perimeter has to win his one-on-one battle right here. There comes a point where you got to finish. And we've talked about that when we've talked about our in-phase, out-of-phase drills on the perimeter right there. The corner having the ability to hook and shoot the hand to break up the pass. Be a finisher. Be a finisher. I think 21 does a good job here as the numbers, the numbers. He's nice and in the middle of formation. He's looking at the quarterback. The quarterback clearly is throwing to the defensive right as you look at this. And that high shoulder level indicates a deeper throw. All right, cover 1. All right, so again, the safety at the bottom of the screen here. He's disguising his intentions on the hash. Spins back. He's our numbers, the numbers player. He's in the middle of formation at 12 yards. He's ball off line of scrimmage pass. Now when it's 3-step or quick drop right here, he can start to settle his feet. He sees the ball being thrown quick. It's being clearly thrown to his right, and it's being thrown short because of the low shoulder level. It's his job to pursue that route from inside out. Inside out, like any cover 3 free safety or any middle free safety would do in that situation. Good tight coverage on the perimeter. All right, here we're in cover 1. Safety to the left's working to the middle of the field. He's the numbers player. He sees a 2x2, so he's splitting the 2 inside threats right here. He's got pretty good vision on the quarterback. The quarterback, as he's looking, he sets his feet. He's clearly throwing to the right, defensive right, and he's throwing short. So now it's the numbers player now. Once the ball is thrown, to pursue inside out to the ball, just like you would pursue through any alley right there. Good job. Good job on the perimeter. On the city technique, good job by the numbers player protecting the post. The inside edge of the numbers on one side to the inside edge of the numbers on the other side. Here's a good look at cover 1. Again, our safety on the bottom of the screen spinning back to the middle. We call that a fishtail technique. Lead step, crossover, spin to the middle. It's his responsibility to get the middle of formation at 12 yards. He's got the post defended. He's got inside routes from the inside edge of the numbers on one side of the field to the inside edge of the numbers on the other side of the field. And as he's looking at the quarterback's clearly throwing to the defensive left, and he's throwing short because we have a pressure on. So as he sees that ball thrown, he should stick his foot in the ground. He should pursue inside out to the ball like any middle free safety or middle safety would do. Don't be out of phase. All right, again, we're in cover 1 right here. Safety spins back to the middle. We're holding the 2 shell. He spins back to the middle, utilizing a fishtail technique. He's in the middle of formation at 12 yards in any 2x2 route, clearly thinking that he doesn't want to, he wants to split the threats of the number 2 receivers, anticipating 4 verts. And same deal, we're bringing a middle pressure here. So as the quarterback feels the pressure, he's clearly throwing to the left, the defensive left, and he's throwing short. So it's the players in the middle, the number safety's responsibility to now pursue from inside out, through the alley, staying inside out to the football. Again, we watch a lot of end zone film with our middle third safeties or our the number safeties to identify the habits of the quarterback. Quarterback clearly is throwing to the right as you look at this screen, and he's throwing short. The shoulder turn of the quarterback gives you the direction of the throw, and the level of the shoulders gives you the depth of the throw as well. The way we start off practice every day is with a pursuit drill. We have a couple different types of pursuit drills. This one we call our play fast drill. And what we do on our play fast drill is we hot the feet of the players. So we put 4 players up at a time. We hot their feet. We get their feet churning as quickly as they can. Hot feet, get them moving, get them moving, get them moving. And what I'm going to have them do is I'm going to have them do an up down. All right. When they do the up down, then once they get up off the ground as fast as they possibly can, what we're teaching them to do is run to the ball as fast as they can. There's no speed up slow downs in football. You've got to run to the ball as fast as you can. As you're running the ball as fast as you can, you got to own your own lane of pursuit to the ball. Don't follow your own color. If for some reason someone beats you to your proper your cone, then you replace into their open window right there. But whatever you do, you own your own lane of pursuit on the football right there. Spread the field, fan the field, spread the net. All right. As you approach the ball carrier then, or the cone in this particular case, what we want our players to do is keep a good football position. Knees bent, chest up, eyes up, shimmy. Get yourself in a good, controlled football position as you get into the ball. So the keys here are getting off the ground as fast as you can, sprinting, getting in a good football position as you approach the ball carrier right there. Again, a couple things we need to really focus on in that group is knee bend, knees bent, chest up, eyes up. Get off the ground as fast as you can. With the lineman, now this is a sprint. They sprint, knees bent, chest up, eyes up. The drill ends when the coach blows the whistle and says they've done a good job. So the players get up off the ground as fast as you can. Own your own lane of pursuit to the ball. Knees bent, chest up, eyes up. Be a knee bender, not a waist bender. Be a knee bender, not a waist bender. Sloppy group right there. But at least they're owning their own lane of pursuit. It teaches you, again, to get off the ground as quickly as you can, to run to the ball as fast as you can, to approach the cone with your knees bent, chest up, eyes up, and to own your own lane of pursuit to the football. Own your own lane of pursuit to the football. Whatever you do, don't follow your own color. And one of the things we take great pride in is being as good a team as anybody in the country as far as running the football and tackling. Those are the critical and key elements of any defense. Whether you're 3-4, 4-3, 3-3 stack, whatever it is that you are. Knees bent, chest up, eyes up as you approach. Only 3 guys in this group, so only 3 cones needed. Good job. In this drill, we set the cones 5, 10, 15, and 20. Now you're going to look at what we did here was we started going to quarter eagle. Move your feet, turn your hips, turn your hips, turn your hips. Get out of here. Sprint to the cones. Own your own lane of pursuit to the ball. And again, as you approach the ball carrier, you want your knees bent, chest up, eyes up. Sprint, knee bend, get where you need to be, go. It breaks down the fundamental elements of any pursuit. We certainly have other pursuit drills that are more team-oriented, but it just teaches the element of getting them off the ground, starting with some type of agility movement, sprinting to the ball as fast as you can, owning your own lane, and having your knees bent, your chest up in a good football position as you approach the ball carrier. And as you can see, the coaches are very enthusiastic about it. We'll coach this as much as we'll coach any scheme. It's a mindset. We always coach playing defense, not defenses. We want to do things the right way on defense. Be aligned, read our keys, run to the ball, and be a great tackling unit out there. That's what we're looking to do. That's what we strive to do every single day.